The fireball is just for show. It doesn't actually do anything. I just figure it kind of gives my act that flashy Las Vegas look, with more bigger budget and so on. But as Nick said, my name's Simon Coronel, and I am probably of the performers in this show tonight, probably the newest, the youngest. I've only been doing magic for a relatively brief 6.5 years. But in that time, I've still seen a heck of a lot of tricks, illusions, whatever you want to call them. And tonight, I thought to kick things off, I'd share with you the 2 tricks that for me stand out head and shoulders as my favorite, the best ones. Would that work for you guys? Okay, this is interactive. You're allowed to say stuff, by the way. It's not TV. First one of the things that makes this so great is it uses an object we can all relate to. A $5 note. Okay, money is always a good thing to work with. And sorry, sir in the front row, what's your name? Peter. Could you do me a favour? Just check that out for me. I'm using my money so we don't have to go into the awkward situation of me borrowing money and you being anxious that you'll get it back or not. So, but give it a really good examination. Make sure there's no trapdoors or secret compartments or wires, hinges, chocolate-covered lizards, midgets that can speak French, anything. I should also make the point I'm going to do this with my sleeves rolled up, not wearing a watch, something you won't see a lot of in a magic show. Does that meet requirements, Pete? Fantastic. Okay, so with the sleeves up, naked from the elbows down. Okay, forearms are erotic. This would be a pretty racy show, people. I'm going to do something that's kind of related to origami, the Japanese art of paper folding that most of you will have heard of before. And basically, it's harder with plastic to get the creases in just the right place to make this illusion. But rather than making the illusion of a paper crane or a rhinoceros or whatever like origami, if we get the folds in just the right place, I don't know if you can start to see that. It starts to resemble not a bird, but a $50 note. It's pretty cool. But like I said, now think about this. I said this was an illusion, okay, not magic. If this was magic, if I could really do this, odds are I wouldn't be here tonight. We'd be on a beach in Hawaii with a margarita the size of a bucket, just sipping it, stacked with it, exactly, and a stack of $5 notes folding up. Doing that, lounging back, enjoying it. So it is unfortunately an illusion, even though it's a very convincing short-sleeved one. And because of that, we need to reverse the folds. For those in the front row watching really closely now, get the creases in just the right place. This looks really, really cool. And you can start to see it reverting back to the $5 note from whence it came. Okay, now, even though I made the point this is an illusion achieved through sleight of hand and a bunch of other things, what makes that trick so cool is it is exactly the kind of thing you would do if you really had magic powers. You know, odds are you wouldn't be taking big metal rings and linking them and unlinking them, pulling rabbits out of hats, because then they crap on the carpet and it's just not bad. Now, I said I was going to show you 2 tricks to kick things off. The second one is a complete contrast to this. This one's totally abstract, no practical purpose whatsoever, but damn does it look cool. And the first contrast is rather than a $5 note, a sensible object, this uses a small, white, 9-inch silk handkerchief. Now, the biggest problem I have with this is this establishes me as the kind of man who carries around small silk handkerchiefs, which is not really the look I'm going for. But for the sake of your entertainment pleasure, I'm going to go with it. Here's the way the trick works. The hands are shown empty, the sleeves are up, left empty hand is shown, and the handkerchief is stuffed down really, really small into the hand. I need to get this down to a really tight package for this to work. And eventually, if that's compressed down small enough, with a melodramatic gesture, it completely disappears. It's absolutely Now wait a second, because think about it, we're all intelligent adults here. Something can't just disappear, it has to go somewhere. And that's where the second silk handkerchief comes in. Trick continues. Take a black silk handkerchief, show both sides, show the hand empty, make a little well in it, equally melodramatic gesture, and add mystery. And the white handkerchief reappears from the center to a thunderous round of applause from the audience. Okay, so how are we doing so far? Are we enjoying this? Okay, fantastic. I'd like to get a sense of feedback as to whether I'm killing or dying here. But now, at this stage in the show, I know what you're all thinking. Everyone's pretty much thinking, how can I be more like him? That is more or less what they are. Okay, what everyone's actually thinking is, how do you do that? You know, how's this possible? Because it looks unbelievable, let's admit it. And because I like to think of myself as a caring, sharing illusionist, you know, that cares, I don't want to leave you going home sleepless at night going, how do you do that? I think that it's easy to actually appreciate what's happening here if you have at least an insight into how it works. I'm not going to give away enough to spoil it for anybody, but I think I'm going to give you a few insights into how this works. And the first principle to make things vanish and 5s change into 50s is a little something called sleight of hand. Now, some of you may have heard of this. I'm going to give you a demonstration of a deck of playing cards. Now, so in the front row, what's your name? Jolene. Could you check the deck out for me? Yep, that's fine, thank you. All right, I'll give it to you in a second. But an example of sleight of hand, this is basically, apart from making cool things like that happen, basically sleight of hand is the sort of mastered dexterity with the fingers to an incredibly high degree. Say, for example, we're playing in a poker game, and you're about to get dealt a queen of clubs. That's a reasonably good card, but if quick as a flash with sleight of hand you switch that for an ace of diamonds, that would be much cooler. Now, hold that for a second. Because one ace is pretty good, but we can take this a step further. Taking the sleight of hand a bit further, doing what's called a 4-packet diagonally rotating overhand cut, which looks quite cool. Then leading with something faster called a snap change to bring us a second ace, a clubs ace. Now let's take this a step further because we've established a pattern. And do something going up a bit this time, doing a 5-packet rotating accordion cut. That's extremely cool in that posy way. But then taking this a step further, and this time, rather than that rapid change from last time, doing it much more slowly. Again, showing the empty hands, which is just a slow, melodramatic, but PG wave over the cards. We get the third ace. Now, any bets on what's coming next? Have we established a pattern? We've got to, that's okay. It's a rhetorical question. It means you don't need to answer. And for this final one, let's take it a step further. Take a random card out of the middle. Does that look like a single card for you? Does that look like a single non-dodgy hand to you? The hands are the tricky bits. We take the 5 of spades, and this time just with a shake, we get a final ace of spades. Got melodramatic pose again. So that's sleight of hand, and it gives you an idea. You can just tell that it's sort of overtly flashy and impressive, the difficulty of doing these moves and so on. But actually, as a segue, there's a much more interesting variant on this art form. And so this time, could you actually genuinely take the deck, have a look through it, make sure they're all normal. There's only 4 aces and nothing dodgy going on. And go through the deck, as well as checking them out, pull out one card that you like. Make it a generic number card, like a 4 or a 7 or something. And while you decide, take your time. I'm just going to go a bit further. Everyone know that old trick where you apparently pull your thumb off? That's an old one, but we can take it a step further with removing the first finger, vanishing it, replacing it with the third finger, restoring the third finger, shrinking the little finger, taking the thumb, stretching it, taking the thumb from the side, pulling it off, putting it back on, and then actually levitating it up there like that. So briefly, also segue. We got in the meantime, that was a segue. We got a card? Okay, take it out and could you give the rest back to me, please? No, just hang on to your one card. Oh, you've got, you're way ahead of me. That's impressive. Okay, I want you to do something a bit unusual for me. Can you take, this is a permanent marker. You can test it out on someone's forehead over here, if you feel inclined. And do something a bit weird. Write your name in really big letters across the front of the card. Now, the reason why we're doing this, because this is a bit odd thing to do, deface a deck for your entertainment pleasure, is twofold. First of all, those of you who have been drinking at the pub over the road beforehand, now you don't have to remember the card. You can just look for the big name written across it. Second reason is, and show the card around to everybody. Good. Now the second reason is, even if I had a copy of that card, stashed away somewhere with all my, in my dodgy magic jacket or whatever, I couldn't possibly have duplicated the signature exactly. This way there's only one copy of that card in existence. Thank you. With the name across it, which I can look at. 7 of spades, Johnny's signature. Now, this whole sleight of hand concept, I'm going to take this into a kind of an interesting tangent with a little known art form known as sleight of tongue. Think about that for a second. Use your imagination if necessary. Now, sleight of hand is extreme controlled dexterity with the hands used to find a playing card. Sleight of tongue is, it's probably easier if I just show you. You remember the card, Johnny? Here we go. For the first time tonight at the ASM close-up show, sleight of tongue. Oh, boy, is that your card? Right. Is that your card? Right. So your card is somewhere in the middle of the left. I don't know where, but I'm going. Here we go. Pull it with tongue. Jolene, what was the card you chose? Still with Jolene's signature on the card. So, I like that, isn't it? I have very little else to say about that trick, except a souvenir. No, don't touch that. Seriously, you'll get rabies or something. Occupational health and safety doesn't cover that kind of behaviour. That's okay. So that's sleight of hand. You can tell, or sleight of whatever else, as the case may be. And you can tell that's the kind of stuff that just takes years to grind away, working on it, training, until you can actually just train your hands to do this. But sleight of hand alone isn't quite enough. Because, well, let me give you an example of this. I've got, as opposed to playing cards, one of the things people often say when I do that trick is, could we go to the casino afterwards and make 4 aces appear, and that would be cool. Problem is, in the casino, you can't actually touch the deck. The dealer holds onto the deck, so your powers are useless. You can, however, touch the chips in the casino. Sorry, madam in front row, what's your name? Lynn. Lynn, check those out for me. These are 3 chips from Crown Casino. I don't know if you frequent the casino, Lynn, but you can check that those are real. And also, once again, we're doing this with the sleeves up and nothing else hidden. People always accuse me of using sort of extra chips or dodgy sleeves, but that's why we're, again, naked from the elbows down here. Do they meet specification?
Yes.
Fantastic. Now think about this. I want to debunk this whole hand is faster than the eye myth, because it is a myth. It's like Dr. Carl, you know, in the Good Weekend magazine, debunking the myths. I feel like I want to be him. Now, if I want to hold the 3 chips, hold my 2 hands out like this, and somehow get 1 chip from my right hand to my left hand, no matter how good at sleight of hand I am, no matter how fast I can move, I'm never going to do that, you know, faster than your eyes can actually see it, if that makes sense. I can't actually do it that quickly. I mean, it's almost impossible. I mean, so, would you like to try? Okay, I can work with that. And so we need to use a little something, an extra aid to sleight of hand called misdirection, which is pretty cool as well. Now hold that thought, because misdirection is basically, I know that was fast, I'll show you again. Misdirection is the action of using both the focus of your gaze as well as the choreographed movements of your body to conceal the sleight of hand from view. And as these choreographed body motions all blend together, covering the sleight of hand, this continues until the final chip just travels across, leaving us with the 3 chips and a profound sense of misdirectedness. Now, so if you have the sleight of hand skills, you can do all the moves. If you have the misdirection skills and you can conceal the moves from happening from your perception, you're halfway there. But even these things still can't get you all the way. For example, all the sleight of hand and misdirection in the world isn't going to be able to make you levitate or make the Statue of Liberty disappear. And this is where the 3rd component of magic comes in, the general principles on which we work. Basically, the principle of concealment. This is either all the kind of the trapdoors and the mirrors and the wires and the secret tricky bits and pieces. This all comes under this heading. And so to give you an example, I've got with me the box of mystery. Dum, dum, dum. Actually, when I say that, can everyone go woo when I say the box of mystery? The box of mystery. I know that's very kind of ham-acted, but you know, it gives it that theatrical feel. So it's cool. Lynn, would you do me a favour and be the keeper of the box of mystery for me tonight? I know it's a big, weighty responsibility to place on your shoulders, but I trust you. Look after that. And now for this demonstration of concealment, I also need, and I feel a bit awkward about this, I do need to borrow, remember the 5 to 50 trick we did earlier? I need to borrow a banknote from someone in the audience. Now, I know it's a bit weird and anxiety-inducing to lend money to someone on stage, might get ripped or burnt, so number 1, I promise I'll return it unharmed. The gentleman, you know, I'm the illusionist that cares. But also to sweeten the deal, whoever lends me the banknote gets a free box of Ferrero Rochers. I figure if all else fails, bribe them. Sorry, sir. Fantastic. Now, hold on to that for a sec, because I want you to do something else unusual. Permanent marker again. Could you put some kind of identifying mark, like draw a little smiley face or write your name or something on that note, so that when we see it again, we'll definitely know it's the same one. Okay, hang on. Okay. And what have you drawn?
Star.
A star. Fantastic. That's a star in the middle of the $10 note. Very nicely done. That's really even. I can't do that myself. Yeah, special. Okay. And this is where, now, last time I changed a 5 into a 50. Now we've got a 10, so theoretically that should get to 100, if we can actually pull this off. So let's try again. The guys in the front row are watching really closely because they've seen this before. If we get the creases in just the right places, get the folds perfectly aligned, we can hopefully, if I can get this right, change that $10 note, this is harder, into an authentic, genuine Australian $100 note. Oh. Fantastic. There we go. Yes, okay, I know that's not very impressive. You won't do that. That won't do. Yeah. Sorry. Well, anyway, that's the show. I've been Simon Coronel. Thank you very much. It's been great. Okay. Sorry, that would be ungentlemanly. I gave my word. I've returned the note unharmed. I promised to do this. But we're going to go with we've got the problem now that, the $10 note needs to be found somewhere. And this is where the aforementioned box of mystery comes in. Lynn, as the keeper, have I been anywhere near that box? No. It's a stupid question, of course I haven't. Could you, for the first time, open the box of mystery, remove the high security rubber band, open the box and tell us what's inside?
Kiwi fruit.
What's in? I think I got the wrong box. Okay. Plan B. Everybody needs a plan B. We have a kiwi fruit inside the box of mystery. Has anyone got a knife? Anyone live in Footscray? No. Can we try this? Hang on. Plan B. Trying a Swiss Army knife. Had the kiwi fruit in the box of mystery. Check this out. We put a little cut inside the kiwi fruit. Highly dangerous for your entertainment pleasure. Then, can you see something in the centre of that kiwi fruit? Yes. Pull that out. Have a look at it, unfold it, and show everybody, is your identifying star still on the centre? Show it up. Hold up, show it right. In the kiwi fruit! Box of mystery! Yes! And also, because like I said, I'm the illusionist that cares, we have a bunch of tissues for you to wipe off the note. It's that extra little touch that makes the difference. Good. So that is concealment in action. Oh, by the way, as I promised, forever shares. Thank you. Round of applause again for him. The whole shout. Because I know it is very much a leap of faith to lend your hard-earned cash to some weird guy on stage who's going to do God only knows what with it, like cover it in kiwi fruit juice. But so we've seen sleight of hand, we've seen how misdirection works, and we've seen concealment. And now, because I've actually got to get off stage pretty quickly, we're going to tie it all together with the final trick of this. And it's possibly the simplest trick you're going to see all night, because it just uses a small piece of thread, nothing else. No big sort of fancy props or boxes or anything. But this one trick ties together all the principles we've seen in action, the sleight of hand, the misdirection, the concealment, into one. And for me at least, it's a reminder of the fact that when you're watching a magic performance like tonight, all the acts, the ones before me and the ones later in the show, that rather than it's more than just a group of tricks, you're actually watching a very, very finely controlled and choreographed set of different skills at work. And so the principles of sleight of hand, practiced for years and years until they're instinctive and can be done without thinking. The misdirection, again, choreographed in front of a mirror or a video camera until you can use that to a high enough degree to cover the sleight of hand. And again, the concealed principles that sometimes take years to hunt down the secrets and blend them into the already difficult sleight of hand and misdirection. And if all these principles are working together, finely choreographed to keep all these in your head at once on stage, hopefully it works together into an illusion. And in this case, where we've now got a bunch of broken pieces of thread, if the sleight of hand's been good, the misdirection has been effective, and all my concealed principles at work have been functioning properly, we should hopefully, once I get these balled up properly, end up with a very convincing illusion. I've been Simon Coronel. You've all been fantastic. I've enjoyed performing. Thank you very much, and good night.